We've come a long way together over the last year. Now we need everybody, we need you to get vaccinated and help put COVID behind us once and for all. It's time for everyone to say they've rolled up their sleeves and gotten their vaccinations. COVID vaccines are safe and effective. Everyone in the Benjamin family has now been vaccinated, even our youngest. Just like we've done, and just like so many others across the Midlands, it is important to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your community. Once you've gotten fully vaccinated, you'll know you've done your part in helping everyone get safely back together again. Take a look, see how easy that was. Vaccinations are free and available from great community partners all across the Midlands. Getting our city and all of our communities back to normal is almost within reach. We're almost there. This is your shot, Columbia.
Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In it together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC. In it together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Hey, good Thursday afternoon to you. I'm Tre Tailor, and you are watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. Well, the Columbia City Council race is heating up, and we're continuing to keep you up to date with your choice of local and state elections by highlighting the candidates. Now, today, one of the 4 people running for Columbia City Council is going to join us. Aditi Bussells with Children's Chance has joined us several times before, and she's going to join us again today to talk about her city council race. Dr. Bussells, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And the 5th annual Juneteenth Freedom Festival is coming up in just a couple of days. Organizer Jamal Bradley joins us to talk all about it. And also, Representative Kambrell Garvin is one of a few legislators that are trying to make it a state holiday. Gentlemen, I'm looking forward to talking to you today.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And so much more coming up next on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. But first, your COVID community updates. The first woman to ever run for governor, the first African-American woman to ever run for governor of the Palmetto State has announced her candidacy. Senator Mia McLeod launched her campaign today, saying she knows how to connect with all South Carolina voters. She cites education and healthcare as her major concerns and says she's running because Governor McMaster has failed the state during the pandemic. Gary Volter and former state representative Joe Cunningham have also announced their candidacy. Prisons in South Carolina will now begin allowing in-person visitation, another sign of the decrease in COVID cases. For the first time in over a year, vaccinated inmates at 4 correctional facilities will be allowed scheduled visits from people over 18 who show their vaccination card or proof of a recent negative COVID test result. Now, temperature checks will be given, and 1 visit per week for 1 hour is allowed. And if you are homebound and live in South Carolina, you can now get your COVID vaccine in the comfort of your own home. The program, which is being offered in all 46 South Carolina counties, will also allow for a caregiver or family member in the home to be vaccinated. To schedule an in-home COVID vaccination, you can see the information on the screen. give them a call at 865-365-8110. SCDHEC has your most up-to-date list of times, dates, and locations for COVID testing and COVID vaccinations in and around South Carolina. Visit scdhec.gov for locations, dates, and times, including over 130 mobile sites. Plus, check the scroll at the bottom of the screen throughout the show for information on specific COVID testing and also COVID vaccination sites. That's going to be at the bottom of the screen throughout the show. We are going to highlight a couple right now, including Lexington Medical Center. All of their COVID vaccination centers have transformed from appointments to walk-in clinics. That includes the one at Brooklyn Baptist Church. Now, the Columbia Place Mall COVID vaccination clinic is open through June 9th, and they are administering the J&J vaccine. Kroger and CVS are also offering the COVID vaccination. Also Target, and that includes the Target locations that have CVS's inside of them. Now, if you are a veteran, the VA will handle all COVID vaccinations. There's information on the screen right now about the VA. So if you are a veteran, please check the information and register for your COVID vaccination. If you or someone you know is having some troubles, some challenges, scheduling an appointment, Get Set Up is offering seniors free information and free tutorial on how to make their COVID vaccination appointment. Now, the Comet is not only offering free rides to get your COVID vaccine, they are also offering free COVID vaccinations at the main location at the corner of Sumter and Laurel Streets in Columbia, South Carolina. Now, if you or someone you know lost someone due to COVID, the FEMA funeral expense reimbursement is going on now. You still have a chance to register to see if you might be able to get funeral expenses reimbursed due to COVID. Richland County still has monies available for those who need it for their rent or their bill. Their bill payment assistance program information is on the screen. Go to richlandcountysc.gov to apply. SC Housing also has a bill and rental assistance program, and they also have a frontline workers home buying program. Again, that information is listed on the screen. ACA open enrollment is going on until August. And as I said, all the time, Rosalind Goodwin with South Carolina Hospital Association joined us a couple of weeks ago to tell us that not only can you get registered for health insurance, if you already have health insurance, make sure you go back to the site to see if you qualify for additional benefits. Now, the South Carolina Department of Health has launched their SC Hopes hotline for those who may need help coping with COVID. Please call the number and take full advantage of those resources. DSS is offering pandemic aid for foster youth. That program is ongoing. Any foster youth, current or previously age 14 through 26, could qualify for the aid. The summer feeding program is going on beginning later this month all over the state of South Carolina. See the information on the screen and make sure you register your child for the free summer pre-feeding program. I'm Tre Tailor, and you're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. We are streaming live on Facebook on the Tailor Made production page. That's the home of Coping with COVID. Would you please go over there and hit like and follow? Not only can you watch Coping with COVID Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and first Monday with comedian George Wallace, you can also get all of your COVID-related updates. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Want to say hi to all of the folks joining us on YouTube. Please hit the subscribe button. And we also have a presence on Twitter and also on Instagram. Again, please post and share, like and follow. And if you have a question, please post it in the chat and we'll make sure that we get it to our guests today. I'm Tre Tailor, and again, you're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. We continue our coverage of the upcoming South Carolina elections with another candidate for the at-large seat for City Council. This is the seat left vacant by Tamika Isaac Devine, who is running for mayor. Aditi Bussells joins us. She is actually joined by businesswoman Hope Bauer, environmental lobbyist Deetra Matthews, and also attorney Tyler Bailey. The Children's Chance researcher joins us today to tell us about her candidacy. Dr. Bussells, thank you so much for joining us again. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with a different hat on today.
That's right. I was going to say, you have been here several times talking about your advocacy for children of South Carolina through your work with Children's Chance. And that is so amazing. I want to ask you, is that one of the reasons why you wanted to run? Because you are so passionate about that work with health disparities among children?
Absolutely. So I get the question, oh, why are you running? That's sometimes the hardest question to answer. And typically my answer is, why not?
Right.
We are literally coming out of one of the biggest public health crises that any of us have ever experienced. We need people that are around the table making sound, science-based decisions. And I'm that person. I'm someone who understands and who has dedicated my entire career to making environments and communities better for children and families. And I think that's the exact same thing that we can do through local policy change as well. And so my professional experiences at the Children's Trust and before that as well has absolutely led me to wanting to step up and serve in this way.
Yeah. So what was the process of your making the decision? You're a lead researcher, again, doing amazing work at Children's Trust. And what goes through your mind that says, I want to take off my researcher hat and put on my politician hat?
Well, it actually happened by accident. So I don't come from any political background or political family. My parents came from India and immigrated here in the 70s and 80s, and they would have never imagined that their daughter would be doing something like this. But this past year, I saw that there was a real need for young people that were invested in Columbia, that were able to decipher all of the information and frankly misinformation that was being spread about COVID. Mm-hmm. And I found that I was able to do that with the unique experience and skill set that I have. So it almost happened by accident that as I became more vocal and passionate about making sure that kids are safe during COVID, or that people are getting access to testing, back then when we were thinking about even testing, or access to masks when we had a shortage of masks.
Right.
I found that along the way, there were a lot of people that wanted to learn from me and understand the best ways that they can move those science-based policies forward. And so as the opportunity came to perhaps pursue public service, I was really excited to be accepted into the Emerge class of South Carolina in 2021. And things just kind of became this perfect whirlwind of, I asked around. Columbia has incredible opportunities, and there are a lot of women that have done a lot of work before me that opened those doors for me, connected me to folks. And before you know it, I was running for office. And so I really see that journey as something that you see throughout my campaign. We're a campaign that's grassroots. It's for all the people. And we're really excited to bring a public health and new diverse perspective to council.
Awesome. We're talking to Dr. Aditi Bussells. She is a candidate for Columbia City Council. She is running for the at-large seat that is being left vacant by Tamika Isaac Devine, who, of course, is running for mayor of the city of Columbia. So do you think, Aditi, that your background and education, or what do you think about your background and education that will help make you a good city councilwoman?
So I think that if you look at my career trajectory, it's been pretty consistent. I've always been in public health. And the reason why is because I do believe health is the great equalizer. Whether or not you're involved in health, it affects your life. And what better way for us to improve the conditions in which Columbia's families are living, working, and opening a business in than to do it through the avenue of public health. And so the way I like to think about it is we are trained to solve systemic problems by looking at all of these complex concepts and presenting long-term meaningful solutions. That's exactly what we need on city council. We need to be able to tackle affordable housing, tackle food insecurity, tackle making it easier to open a business here. But how do we do that? And I think that that's where that scientific and systematic perspective is really, really important. And then as my background as a woman of color, I think it's really important that we continue to step up. Even today, as you alluded, we have the first ever African-American woman governor. This is the year of firsts, and it's really exciting to see young women of color step up.
Yeah. So are there specific initiatives and issues that you want to tackle? You mentioned a little bit about making it easier for people to own and run a business. Tell us about some of those things that you really want to kind of hone in on.
Absolutely. So over the last several months, I've been meeting with community members, business owners, and I look forward to doing that now, even more so with CDC guidelines and everybody getting vaccinated. But I think that my key areas of where I'm focusing on fall under opportunity, collaboration, and equity. And when I say opportunity, I mean both economic opportunity, educational opportunity, the things that we need to have in place that regardless of where you come from, you are able to have access to good paying jobs, you're able to make sure you have enough money to bring food to the table, and that your child has access to a quality education. And a lot goes into that, right? There's a lot of different factors that we've talked about in previous shows, those social determinants that lead to that. Some of which I think come from good policy, and others it comes from being truly collaborative. So while city council can't fix everything, we can certainly be advocates to ensuring that our neighboring entities and local decision makers, whether it's at the state house or it's our county council or our school board, are making decisions that make opportunities equitable for all. And with that, you start to see a lot of those disparities that we see decrease as well. And so I'm really interested to continue to host, what we call those listening sessions where we're learning a little bit more about the particular issues. But one thing I can tell you over and over again is that no matter what side of the aisle you're on, no matter whether you live in 29201, 29202, 29205, everybody wants to live in a safe, equitable, thriving community. And the way that we get there depends on the ways in which who we elect to council, right? And the way in which we are able to govern and really look long term, as opposed to maybe just short-term Band-Aid solutions.
Right. We're talking to Dr. Aditi Bussells. She is a researcher with Children's Trust, and she is a candidate for City of Columbia City Council, the at-large seat. And we're talking to her today about her candidacy. Please continue to post and share this information out so we can get the message to the masses as we continue to educate, inform, and update you on the upcoming elections, a lot of them, coming up this November. And this council seat is one of them. If you have a question or comment, please post it in the chat and we'll get Aditi to answer it. So we're looking at your website now, Aditi, and there people can, of course, find out more about you and, donate, obviously join your team. And what other things can people find here about you?
So there are a couple of things. As I mentioned, super excited to see our CDC guidelines loosening up with all of us getting vaccinated. Please go get vaccinated. And if you have any questions, I'll put my public health hat back on and explain to you why it's important to get vaccinated. But you can find all the resources that I use professionally in terms of COVID at the top. You can see there whether you want more information about, the virus itself or some other tools for opening schools, et cetera. That's listed there. Of course, the best ways that you can support this campaign is to engage by being a volunteer, by liking and sharing and interacting with our content on social media, and by considering contributing to the campaign. As a first-time candidate, anything helps, and you can find all of that on the website. The phone number that's listed there is actually my phone number. So if I will answer. And I would love to hear from you. So you can find that contact information as well, and look forward to hearing from all of you.
Right. Well, we're right here at the Endorse Aditi page. And I know you were endorsed by Run for Something, which is a national group. Tell us about that. Congratulations.
I'm really excited. That's actually how I know Representative Garvin is, because he was actually endorsed by Run for Something when he ran. Run for Something is a very well-known and well-respected organization that focuses on increasing the number of representatives and decision makers that are young, progressive, and diverse. And it's a very competitive process. They take a long time to vet, and I was extremely excited that they chose me out of a group of several candidates running for this seat, right? And with that comes not only a lot of national recognition, but support as well. I am a first-time candidate, so there are just things that I'm figuring out as we go. And it's been incredible to have an organization like Run for Something provide some of that support. Right. As you all may know, this past month was Asian American Heritage Month. And one of the facts that they have really been promoting is that AAPI, our population, is the least represented in public office. And so one of the goals that they have is to see that increase. And so we were able to participate in a wonderful forum that had a great turnout of AAPI candidates all across the country talking about why local office is the way to go and to make meaningful change. So that was an amazing day when I got endorsed by them.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations. What else do you need for people to do? I know you talked about, volunteering, obviously fundraising. And as a matter of fact, I wanted to mention the fundraising because when you first announced, you really, you were praised by the state newspaper as doing very well, in your fundraising. What do you attribute that to?
I'm very dedicated. When I put my mind to something, I'm going to do it. And so I had to pivot during COVID and figure out creative ways to reach out to my friends, families, colleagues, and networks across the city. And I took the attitude of what's the worst that happens? Someone says no, but I'll get them next time. And when you have that attitude, it's really wonderful to see how people really, they come on board. And I would also say that our message has been very consistent. We are a grassroots, public health focused, what I like to say, we can be both pro economy and pro public health. And I think that's really resonating with voters. And so we saw that as well in quarter one. But in addition to fundraising, a lot of other things that you could help me with is by letting me know if there's events or things that are now coming up, with us opening back up that you'd like me to be at. I'd love to be there. There are many, many people that have been doing hard work well before, I have, and I want to learn from them. I'm looking forward to hearing more about Jamal's work with Juneteenth. I plan on being there because I can't wait to meet our community members that are involved with that. And again, if you're willing to put a sign in your yard or host a meet and greet, or even do some texting and tell your friends about this campaign. Word of mouth is the strongest way to get the word out, especially as we're coming out of this weird period of, some people are comfortable being out and about and others are not, and that's okay. We can adapt and pivot and get our message out that we are excited to bring a new perspective to City Council.
All right. Aditi Bussells, Dr. Aditi Bussells, she is a researcher with Children's Trust, and she is one of 4 candidates for the City of Columbia at-large race. Why you, Aditi? 4 folks running. Why you?
Because I believe that I am the candidate for everyone. I recognize that we have extremely diverse communities all across the city, and I am interested in bringing us together and making sure that we make lasting change that benefits all of us so that we don't have those haves and have-nots anymore. It's very much one big city, one big community. And I believe that with my perspective, both professionally and personally, as an immigrant's kid who benefited from a community like that, I believe that that's the perspective we need moving forward as we come out of this pandemic and have to tackle a whole host of issues that have either been exacerbated or are new because of this unprecedented time.
All right. You've heard it right here first. Dr. Aditi Bussells, she is a candidate for the City of Columbia City Council seat at large. The election is in November, so we've got a little while before we get to vote. But that means you've got additional time to research, find out who's who, what's what, get to know Aditi. As she said, her website is Aditi for the city.
Rhymes.
And like I told you, I didn't hear the rhyme until you said it rhymes. It's like, oh, it does rhyme. Aditi for the city. So it's easy to remember. So visit the website. We've been showing it throughout the show. Visit the website and check her out. Aditi Bussells, candidate for City of Columbia City Council seat at large. Aditi, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the work that you're doing for our children in and around South Carolina, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm Tre Tailor, and you're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. When we come back, the Juneteenth Freedom Festival with organizer Jamal Bradley and one of the 2 lawmakers leading the charge to make it a state holiday. We'll talk to Representative Kambrell Garvin coming up next on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor.
Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In it together, and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the city of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC, In It Together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Visit Javis Tax Service today, 803-419-1001.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow, won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean, and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
You can eat what's good to you and good for you, too.
Yes.
Get the Dash for Southern Soul Cookbook free. All you have to do is ask. It's packed with delicious Southern-style recipes with a healthy twist.
Yummy.
You won't be able to taste the difference, but you will be able to feel the difference.
Yeah.
Inbox your email address to the In It Together or TaylorMade Productions Facebook page, and you'll get it straight to your mailbox. The Dash for Southern Style Cookbook and a Coping with COVID face mask. From In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina, and Coping with COVID.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
How will you remember the year 2020?
COVID.
Losing my job.
Working 12-hour shifts in a mask.
Losing my grandma to COVID.
COVID has claimed thousands in South Carolina and strained our health system, schools, businesses, and families. If you're struggling and need to talk, call SC Hopes. That free call can help put you in touch with people who can help. This goes for healthcare workers, teachers, restaurant employees, parents, anyone and everyone. SC Hopes, mental health and addiction support for challenging times.
Thank you so much for joining us on Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor. Hey, don't forget that we are streaming live on the TaylorMade Production Facebook page. Go over there and hit like and follow and share this information out so we can get this message to the masses. We're also streaming live on YouTube. So we thank you so much for watching and ask you not only to subscribe to the channel, but also to post and share it out. Well, the Juneteenth festival returns to Columbia. They actually didn't even skip a beat. Last year, they went on ahead with it in spite of COVID. They full speed ahead with the festival last year. And this year, it's back, it's bigger, it's better than ever. And we are so glad to have the co-organizer of the event, Jamal Bradley. Thank you so much for joining us so much today on Coping with COVID. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Tre.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, fifth annual Juneteenth festival, great event. Why, Jamal, did you decide to launch the festival?
I felt like we have few things to celebrate, and for us to galvanize as a community and get together in honor of those whose shoulder we stand upon, to get together behind freedom was a great idea. So we started hosting a festival in 2017. And as you said, this is our 5th year of hosting a Juneteenth event here in the Midlands.
And you mentioned that it was important to you because we needed to celebrate our ancestors. How do you go about helping people to understand and really remember that in the midst of the festival?
So the Juneteenth commemorates and emphasizes freedom, education, and the overall achievements of African Americans. It's a time for reflection, rejoicing. It's a time for community assessment, self-movement, and planning for the future. And in planning for the future, we had to include the future. So we started off this year on Sunday, June the 13th, with our youth event. We partnered with the organization, the Young CEOs and Leaders of Tomorrow event. They'll host an event Sunday, June the 13th at Z's Cool Me Down on Two Nuts Road.
Right, right. Yeah, I saw that there are so many great events this year. And you said the youth kickoff. Now that's next Sunday, right? The youth kickoff is next Sunday.
Sunday, June 13th.
Right, right. And then in addition to that, and so is this open for any young person? And here's looking at the website right now. Mm-hmm.
This is a free event for all ages. It's actually been put together. You know, we just facilitated it. We want Juneteenth to do that is to include the youth in the planning process. So the young CEOs will be presenting this event to a movie. I believe it's Hidden Colors, Hidden Figures. The achievements of some African American women. And then we'll have dialogue with all young entrepreneurs. So they'll go over, you know, why they chose to become, you know, young CEOs and leaders of tomorrow.
Yeah, we're talking to Jamal Bradley. He is the organizer with the Juneteenth Festival. Jamal, you're breaking up just a little bit. We're going to continue with the interview because we want to get this great information out. Now, we're looking at the website right now. It's JuneteenthFreedomFest.com. In addition to your youth kickoff, which is June 13th. So let me ask you, is this for kids of all ages, young kids too?
It is for kids of all ages. It is a free event. Like the other events, the only ticketed event we have is the Juneteenth Gala in South Carolina.
Right. Now,
Monday, there is a... I'm sorry, I was trying to...
Yeah, you are really breaking up. You're breaking up. We can barely hear.
I actually stopped.
Oh,
I actually stopped.
Okay. All right. Yeah, now this is the next day. You've got the home buying event. Tell us about this.
Yeah. So, home buying or owning a home is a pathway to freedom. So, partner with Ms. Melinda Song and some other individuals, Ty Simon, and they're going to go over the home buying process and talk about how that itself is a pathway to freedom or financial independence.
And this is also a free event that people can come to?
That is also a free event.
All right, so that's June 14th from 6 to 8:30. People can find out about the home buying process, as you said, credit repair, which is big, the mortgage process. And if people want information on all of this, can they come to the website and register? Because like this event is they've got to register for it.
Yes, there is a registration on Facebook, but the information to register will be included on the website along with the location.
All right. And then, of course, you said the one ticketed event is the Juneteenth Gala, which is June 18th. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so the gala will include a live performance by 7 They opened up with some African drums and a dance. Heavy hors d'oeuvres, there'll be a cigar bar, everything. So I was gonna get together, suits and ties and gowns, and celebrate each other. There's an award ceremony honoring some individuals in the community who put themselves, who put themselves behind to serve the community.
Yeah, this is great. This is is this the first year that you really had like a full week of activities, Jamal?
Yes, it's always been a plan, but due to COVID last year, going on as far as the social issues, I got a lot of calls saying that, hey, you need to have a festival. So we had the festival. We had about 4,500 last year. It was safe. Everybody had on, masks, hand sanitizers, some social distancing. We know no significant rise in COVID cases. Plus.
Yeah.
And this year we'll also have COVID testing and vaccinations at the festival
at
that'll
the
be
Saturday
provided by
event?
Dr. Darryl at the Saturday event.
At the Saturday event. So let's talk about the Saturday event, which is on Juneteenth, 5th annual Juneteenth festival. You have got a full lineup, a little bit of something for everybody.
Yes,
Tell us about
Saturday,
that.
June 19th. From 1 p.m. we got legendary Manhattans featuring Jordan Austin, Nelly Tiger Trash, and
hey, Mr. Sexy
hip-hop
Man.
legend. Yeah, hey, Mr. Nelly Tiger Travis, and then we got Chubb Brock, the hip-hop legend, with some local performances by Seven Sunday, LaSalle Williams, of others. There's bouncy houses for the kids, and this is a free event. Thanks to our sponsors and supporters like Mission for Minority Affairs, Midlands Honda. Who else we got? We got Farmers Construction, Fire Monkey AV. And Watch Fox. Can't forget Watch Fox.
Great. We're talking to Jamal Bradley. He is the organizer of the 5th annual Juneteenth Festival here in Columbia, South Carolina. And again, they've got a little something for everybody. The home buying seminar, they've got the kids event, then they have the gala the night before, and then of course the 5th annual Juneteenth Festival. Darlene Torres says, she says, job fair, COVID testing, and vaccinations, 100 plus vendors, kids corner, and more. Thank you, Tina.
Yes, thank you, Tina. Tina, my awesome planner who I could not do this without.
Right. So also a medical unit, she says, and also a medical unit. Awesome. This is going to be so great. Well, this is, like I said, the 5th annual Juneteenth Festival. Jamal has been doing it and growing support every single year. And I know that you reached out to a couple of people to help you make Juneteenth a state holiday. Why was that important to you?
There are several states that have enacted legislation to make Juneteenth a state holiday. And I figured as a South Carolina was the alpha of slavery. It was the first state to secede from the Union. And I think to make it a state holiday here would just send shockwaves across the South and show how far we've come as a state and people.
Yeah, one of the two state lawmakers leading the effort is our State Representative Kambrell Garvin. He joins us today to talk about why he became involved in the effort. Kambrell, thank you so much for joining us on Coping today.
Thank you for having me on, Trey.
Absolutely. So how did you become involved in the effort?
Certainly. So Senator Darryl Jackson was the primary sponsor of a bill in 2020 that would have made Juneteenth a state holiday. As you all are aware, 2020 COVID came, and so that bill never gained traction, and our legislative session was actually cut short by a tremendous amount of time. in 2021, if you think about what happened, let's go back to 2020. We know that we had the killing of George Floyd, and we had the protests all over our state and nation, and we had the recognition that Black lives and the acknowledgement that the movement of Black lives matter in our country. And I think that I decided to go ahead and to join the senator's efforts on the House side because I thought it was an important conversation to have. I think Jamal was absolutely right in regards to the historical context of where South Carolina plays into the nation's fabric and in the nation's history. In a state that is 30% or more African American, what better way to recognize the end of bondage in this country, or if not the official end, but the announcement of the end. As you all are aware, the news didn't reach several slaves in Texas when Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation until much later, and so that's why we celebrate Juneteenth today. South Carolina would go on to be, currently 47 states, including the District of Columbia, recognize Juneteenth. However, all of those states, all of those recognitions are not currently legally state holidays. Believe it or not, here in South Carolina in 2018, the legislature actually designated June 19th as the June 19th celebration of Freedom Day. However, like some of those other states, South Carolina did not make the Juneteenth recognition an official legal holiday, meaning that state agencies, public colleges, and universities do not have to observe it. And I feel like, so that's kind of it. That's kind of it in a nutshell. And I didn't know if there's a question there, but I could keep talking, Trey.
I will ask another question, Kambrell. Thank you. Listen, that's a politician. You ask one question and they just keep on going. I love it. Were you going to say something, Jamal?
Yeah, so in support of the bill that was proposed by Senator Jackson and then presented in the House by Representative Garvin, we started a petition on change.org. So you can go to change.org/Juneteenth, the state holiday in SC. And I believe we're close to 4,000 signatures, but the goal is to get a lot more than that. And you can find that petition on our website as well.
Right. I was going to say, you can also sign the petition right there on the Juneteenth Freedom Fest website. How important is it, Representative Garvin, that this petition be signed? Is that an important process in making this a state holiday?
Absolutely. I think that the petition helps. I think, everybody has a role to play. So, prior to being in elected office, I was an activist through my local NAACP chapter. And I knew that my role at that point in time was to, galvanize support for certain initiatives. Now that I'm a lawmaker, I certainly know the importance that outside help and that folks who are in the trenches and folks that are doing the grassroots work, being able to have petitions such as this is important to be able to present and to say to my colleagues in both the House and the Senate that there is a groundswell of support for this sort of initiative. I think it's also important that people call and contact their elected officials, not just the Democrats, not just the African Americans, but call folks across the political spectrum to encourage them. I about fell out of my chair when I saw that a Republican colleague actually signed on to this bill in the House. And so I share that to simply say is that we can never underestimate who might be interested and they may have, and for whatever reason, and I think with that sort of initiative, we can certainly gain some momentum. I'm sure many of your viewers know that we celebrate Confederate holiday. The Confederacy in the state is recognized as a state holiday. And I wasn't in the legislature during that time period, but I know that was given as a compromise to the MLK holiday, which honestly is I mean, I don't agree with necessarily, but, I think if we can celebrate the Confederacy, then we can, an institution that, a treasonous institution, if we are quite honest about it, and we can certainly celebrate the emancipation of those enslaved folks who built this country, who built the Capitol, who built it off of free labor, and who didn't ask to be here, but who came and who who truly, make up the fabric of this nation.
Right. That's Representative Kambrell Garvin. He is one of the lawmakers that are backing this move to make Juneteenth a state holiday. And as you can see, there is a petition. You can go to the Juneteenth Festival website or go to change.org to make sure you sign the petition to make Juneteenth a state holiday. So, Kambrell, okay, so people need to call their congressmen, their senators, their state legislators. People need to sign the petition. Is there anything else the public really needs to call their lawmakers? What else does the public need to do to make this happen?
I think, and maybe you all can talk about your experiences, but I think that Juneteenth is a holiday that we are slowly, especially here in South Carolina, beginning to talk about more.
Yeah.
I know that Jamal started the festival, I think 5 years ago, and I applaud Jamal and all the organizers who worked hand in hand with him for your work, because I think it's important that people have the knowledge. And so I think supporting events such as Jamal's, I think there's another festival out in Hopkins that's happening as well, but going to these different festivals and not just taking, people that look like you and I, but taking folks from different backgrounds.
Right.
I think there's power in cultural awareness. I think there's power in being able to interact with people that are different from us, because we need everybody involved. We need everybody, on the same page, and we need all groups to recognize the importance of celebrating this heritage and this history. And so I encourage those that are listening to not only contact your local lawmakers, your local state senators and House members, but to also contact your congressperson, whether that be Congressman Clyburn or Wilson or Rice or any of the others, or either of our senators, Senator Graham or Scott up in DC, because there's a federal push to make Juneteenth a federal holiday as well. But hearing from South Carolinians, I think will make all of the difference, Trey.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Representative Kambrell Garvin. He is pushing for South Carolina to make Juneteenth a state holiday. You mentioned some of the other festivals. I know that there's one in Charleston also again this year. I know Jamal knows about that. So as you said, people are more and more talking about this holiday and the importance of it. So I, like you, applaud Jamal for initiating it, and applaud you for also supporting it, because that's what we elect our lawmakers to do, is to support us and to help push the initiatives that are important to us as a people. So, and that doesn't always happen, quite frankly. So it's good to know when it does all work, together. So want to say hi to Kevin Raspberry, who is watching. Thank you so much, Kevin, for your kind words. He says he has attended all of the Juneteenth festivals so far, and he said he'll be in attendance again this year. You and thousands of others, I know, Kevin. So please don't forget to go to the website, JuneteenthFreedomFest.com, and check out all of the great things that are going on at the Freedom Fest this year, starting on the 13th, which is next week, or this next weekend. You've got the kids event that is happening, and then of course that's the kids event right there that's happening, and then you have the home buying workshop. You've got the festival. And then, of course, that's the youth event there. And then the Juneteenth Freedom Festival, which is happening next Saturday, June 19th from 1 p.m. until 8 p.m. All kinds of great things going on. Anything else, Jamal, that you want to tell us about Juneteenth that we need to know about?
I just want to point out the economic impact that we'll have, with this festival. As Tina said, we have over 100 vendors that'll be coming to join us. So we just create a space for my business to thrive, all while providing an education free. This is a free event, so please join us.
Right. All right. If people want more information, they can visit the website, which is Juneteenth Freedom Fest. We've got the website right here, JuneteenthFreedomFest.com. You can find out everything you need to know about the festival, all of the different events. You can register, you can sign the petition, and just come out. Listen, people are getting out more. People have gotten vaccinated. They're taking off their masks. The weather is warm. 'Tis the season finally to get out and about. So what better way to do it than at the 5th annual Juneteenth Freedom Fest? Family fun for everyone. Jamal, thank you so much for your advocacy and for, just stepping up and doing this. And like I said, you've just been going and going and going, and every year it's just getting better and better. So good luck to you. Congratulations. And Kambrell, thank you so much too, for not only for the work you're doing in the State House, but for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Trey. And if I may, I just wanted to add one more point if we have time. Yes. I want your listeners to know that while this bill has been filed, the legislative process can be slow. It can be frustrating. It can be disappointing. So I know folks are excited about the fact that Senator Jackson took this initiative on, and I've joined him in the House to be able to push it forward. But I also realized that it took us many years to get the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Yes. And it's taken us many years. It took bloodshed for us to get the Confederate flag taken off of the state capitol. So I know that while we are pushing for progress can be slow and it can be frustrating. But I just encourage your listeners, your viewers to don't lose hope and to continue to be a force for good in our communities and know that a change is going to come.
That's great to know, because you're right. We're in there in the trenches, and sometimes we get a little discouraged when things don't happen tomorrow. So, yeah. So hang in there and keep doing the work. Keep doing the work. And Sam Cooke said, a change is going to come.
That's it. Thank you, Trevor.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jamal. Thank you both so much for joining us. All right. Oh, he said, thank you, Kambrell. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Once again, don't forget the Juneteenth Freedom Festival. Go to JuneteenthFreedomFest.com for more information. It's going on June 19th. Don't forget that there are events for kids, home buying information, the gala, which is new this year, and of course, the Juneteenth Freedom Festival. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you again so much for joining us on Coping with COVID. Listen, don't forget, tomorrow we are starting our month-long celebration of Black Music Month. Founder and creator Diana Williamson is going to join us. She is a personal media mentor of mine, and she got together with some folks and decided to make June Black Music Month. We're going to talk to her a little bit, and gospel great John P. Key, who's celebrating his birthday tomorrow, as a matter of fact, is going to tell us what Black music means to him. Coming up next week on Coping with COVID, of course, Wellness Wednesday, every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. We are SCDHEC, the In It Together SC, and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina. We're going to talk about World Blood Donor Day and also migraine headaches. Man, I've suffered from migraine headaches, so I'm looking forward to that show. Also, we continue our feature on local candidates by talking to Tina Herbert. She is also running for Columbia City Council, the District 1 seat, which is being vacated by Sam Davis, who is retiring. We're going to talk to him too, both of them coming up next Thursday on Coping with COVID. Listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, would you please go to the Tailor Made Production page on Facebook and inbox me? We would love to talk to you about being a proud sponsor of Coping with COVID. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwith@tretailor@gmail.com. And we would love to talk to you about being a proud sponsor of Coping with COVID, just like all of our sponsors, including SCDHEC, In It Together SC, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Centers, Javis Tax Services, celebrating 20 years of offering financial services to South Carolina, Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, the Comet Bus System, and Palmetto Media Connections. As always, I leave you with a reading from Jesus Calling. Today is June 3rd. It is my brother's birthday, as a matter of fact. And I just want to say happy birthday to my brother. Listen, my brother was my first friend. He's my big brother, my first friend. And he was always there for me, particularly after both of our parents passed away very early. And he was that brother that introduced me to great music, everything from Mandrell to Santana. And he was there with me every 28 days. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about, when he had to bring me ginger ale and saltine crackers. I love him so much. He's overcome so much in his life. And shout out to my big brother, Charles Smith. Love you, love you, love you so, so much. Here's our Jesus Calling for today, June 3rd. It says, I want to be central in your entire being. Jesus says, when your focus is firmly on me, peace displaces fears and worries. They will encircle you, seeking entrance, so you must stay alert. That's good. Let trust and thankfulness stand guard, turning back fear before it can gain a footstool. There is no fear in my love, Jesus says. My love shines on you continually. So sit quietly in my love light, which I bless you with my radiant peace. Turn your whole being to trusting and loving me. That's your Jesus Calling for today on my brother's birthday, June 3rd, 2021. I'm Tre Tailor. Until the next time, I wish you peace, abundant blessings. Stay safe. Be careful. Don't forget to wear your mask over your nose, under your chin, and please take your vaccine. See ya.
Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In it together, and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC. In it together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.